I was talking to this man about the Book of Mormon, and he told me to read it and to ask God if it's true. Well, I read it, however, I told him I couldn't believe it was true because it had too many anachronisms, and he said this in response. The thing about science is that it's often wrong. New discoveries almost routinely unfold and show that the records in the Book of Mormon were true all along. It's happened before and will continue to happen. The problem with an argument like this is that I could say something very similar. I could say that I'm a billionaire, just that we haven't found the will that was signed to me yet, or a bank account in my name yet that would prove that. It's not a very strong form of argument. The other thing is that you have to consider the claims being made in the Book of Mormon because they are three-dimensional. Not only are they about the existence of certain things such as wheat, steel, cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, goats in North and South America before the arrival of Columbus, but also the sheer scale at which it existed. Using the same analogy, I could say that my grandfather was a rich man, and this could be interpreted in various ways. He could have been rich in wealth, he could have been rich in property, he could have been rich in love and friendship, or he could have had elevated blood sugar levels. However, if I said that my grandfather owned a railroad company and was worth $1 billion, and the proof that I provided would be a few dollar bill notes and some coins, that's not enough evidence to prove that claim. And that's what I see from a lot of Mormon apologists, in that they often tend to provide an example of something that does not provide the full context as to the scale as depicted in the Book of Mormon. For example, in the Battle of Cumorah, which is supposed to take place around 385 AD, about 230,000 people lose their lives according to the Book of Mormon. And bear in mind that in the city of Cahokia in around the 12th century at its peak, it had a population of about 10 to 20,000. Yet, we have much more evidence for Cahokia than we do for the Battle of Cumorah, the battle that was fought with steel swords and metal armor. And Native Americans didn't even forge bronze, let alone iron or steel. And yet, there's no evidence for this. There would be an absolute abundance of evidence if this was the case. In the Book of Ether, it claims that the Jaredites fought a war where they lost 2 million people. This would have been one of the largest wars in human history at the time. Yet, again, there's no evidence for this. In response to this, one of the explanations that the LDS Church provides is the idea that these numbers were simply an exaggeration. However, Joseph Smith himself claimed that this book, the Book of Mormon, was more accurate than any other book on earth. So therefore, why would there be false figures in the book's text? A civilization of this size would require a great deal of upkeep, and that would be reflected upon in evidence of housing, garbage, pottery, where they're growing their food and raising their livestock, the types of diseases that these people are carrying centuries later. I mean, in 2 Nephi 5, as well as in Ether 7, it is explicitly stated that they are forging steel. There would be evidence of them mining ore to forge steel. There would be evidence of steel weapons all over the place, and yet, there is none. We also have extensive contemporary records left behind by the Mayans, and they do not match the Book of Mormon. The people depicted do not match name-wise, and the events depicted do not happen in the same order as depicted in Mesoamerican records. So I remain unconvinced, because apologists have attempted to prove the Book of Mormon by providing examples of something existing in America before Columbus, but it doesn't match the scale of what's depicted in the Book of Mormon. And if it doesn't match the scale, if there isn't an abundance of evidence, therefore I have no reason to believe it.